Hi, and welcome to SCW Live. 24 hours is a long time in professional wrestling, and it couldn't have been demonstrated better than Monday Night Raw this week. And the main topic we're going to be talking about is the dramatic changes to the group known as Judgment Day. Why was Edge kicked out of the group? Finn Balor has joined the group and technically now is the leader of the group. So a lot of information that's come out of the show. We've done one or two other topics from the show also. We're going to do a Q&A format as well. So if there's any questions that do come in, we'll look to do that. We're going to look to do the show for a space between 30 and 40 minutes or so. So get yourselves involved if you'd like to. But first off, Jonesy, let's talk then about Judgment Day. Let's talk about the big changes. Obviously, the group as a threesome of Edge, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest lasted for about 4 weeks. Obviously, it started at WrestleMania with Edge and Damian Priest, over Edge's heel turn with the feud with AJ Styles. We then got Damian Priest involved with it as well. Obviously, leading up to WrestleMania Backlash was the show where it was Edge and AJ Styles 2. That's where Rhea Ripley got herself involved. And then we had the mixed six-person tag team match at Hell in a Cell. Obviously, we saw Rhea Ripley stop Finn Balor picking up the victory over Edge. Was enough of a distraction where Edge eventually then could get the victory over Finn Balor. A fourth member was announced ahead of time on Monday Night Raw, which I think you and I are both the same thinking, oh, you're giving that away by just telling us rather than giving the shock factor. But it was just half of the story. Literally, Finn Balor come out, I'm the new member, can't fight it anymore. I talked to Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest after the show, and we decided, yeah, it made sense that I couldn't fight it anymore. I had to join this movement that was going on as the Judgment Day. Of course, Edge was so proud of Rhea and Damian being under his mentorship for a few weeks, and seemed to have actually shown a lot of potential going forward. The confidence of Damian Priest, the star power of Rhea Ripley, for them to realize that, well, there's not so much limitations left in this group. And Damian Priest said there's one limitation, and Edge, that's you. And they took him out, and they took him out big time. They put him through a table. They did the old steel chair trick where they broke it and did the sort of, what was it, a Glasgow smile they called it on commentary, with a cross face. That looked a bit gruesome. And obviously then the famous concerto as well to signify that Edge was out of this group. So first off, what were your initial thoughts of the way that this was executed? Because I thought it was phenomenal the way it was done.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. I think it was really, really good. It told a good story. I like the way that sort of so much happened. It was so impactful so quickly. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I think it was just such a classic Attitude Era storyline type turn. And I think to see that so rarely, like clearly WWE don't often do this type of stuff. And the fact we got it, I loved it, man. I thought it was really, really cool. I like the way that they sort of come together, and I really like where it can go, if that makes sense. I think the only thing I would say is I was a bit surprised that Finn Balor didn't pin Edge at the pay-per-view. That would have kind of made sense a bit more. But apart from that, it was a great way to start this new stable, basically.
Absolutely. Well, you make a great point because, like, Edge is undefeated in this group. So there is that little twig of the story, and we're going, like, does it make sense? Because, like, they want to go with Finn Balor, who, let's be fair, hasn't won on pay-per-view since coming back up to the main roster last year. And that includes, obviously, the main thing of note he's done was falling off a turnbuckle and doing that sort of act of God, if you want, on the floor. But at the same time, I do feel that Finn Balor is a really good fit for this group. I just wonder if it was a bit rushed in doing so. But there could be a number of reasons of why doing so. And Cody Rhodes is a big one. Cody Rhodes was the top babyface on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, his torus pectoral muscle, which of course has been heavily highlighted with Hell in a Cell. At the same time, you look and say he's probably going to be out for a considerable amount of time. Has WWE hit the panic button here and kind of gone, right, okay, instead of pushing Finn Balor, who's not won on pay-per-view for a long time, AJ Styles at the moment doesn't seem to be at that top level. Edge was a top guy. He was going for championships last year as a top babyface. We'll just take him out of the group and we'll put him back to being babyface.
I think that's a great analysis. I think the thing with it, the way I kind of look at it is, yes, they needed that person. It's almost like we fast forwarded 3 or 4 months worth of storylines in one night. That's kind of the way I feel about it. But yeah, really, really good. I'm interested to see sort of what they do. I think Finn is a great addition. I'm just interested to see what this does to the mystique of the group. Clearly, they've been a bit Ministry of Darkness like. Is that going to go? Are they just going to be cool now? If that makes sense, they're going to be NWO like. If that makes sense. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I just wish the Judgment Day lasted a bit longer with Edge. I think Edge was a vital part. I think Finn could have also joined, and I would have liked him as a four team stable really. But I get needs must, and let's see where it goes.
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, I actually agree with you. I would like to see him as the 4 because there is a question, and I apologize, I want to get to everyone in the chat, and I will do very shortly. But just to say very quickly, like, you know, there was the mentorship of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley who have built themselves further up. Finn Balor wanted to join this group to get that. He's already not got it. And why have Rhea and Damien turned their back on Edge, who's turned their career around, to go with someone who can't win on pay-per-view?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I get the thing with it in that respect. It doesn't make any sense. I guess all they can mean is whatever Finn's got. Finn must have some sort of hold over them. He must be able to inspire them. Maybe we're going to see more of a conniving Finn Balor in the weeks to come, because I didn't really get that from the promo. He was all smiles, if that makes sense, and there wasn't enough of why he did it. There was the great shock. It was a nice shock, but for me, if they want to up it a gear, last night they really AJ Styles and Liv Morgan's come out and say, "What are you doing, Finn?" And that was kind of missing. I don't know if that's just a basic thing, but yeah, let's see where they can go here. And the problem they're going to have now is they've got Edge with this new heel hairstyle. Is he going to come back when his hair grows back, and what are they going to do with the intro music? That's the crucial thing. Are we going to get new intro music for this stable, because they're not really Ministry of Darkness anymore, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because obviously Rhea Ripley went to go and win the Fatal 4-Way, the number one contenders match, didn't she, at the end of the night? So it's her versus Bianca Belair at Money in the Bank. Should be a fantastic match, by the way. Potentially could be a title switch at the pay-per-view. We'll have to wait and see. Or premium live event, apologies. But at the same time, like you said there, once the group came out to stare down Bianca Belair at the end of the show, they still had, Edge's graphic in her entrance to the ring, of how the style of that is. And also you heard you think you know me, you don't. Like, WWE hasn't thought this too far in advance at the moment. This seems to be a late decision, because, like you said, with the music, I don't mind if they keep the music, but they need to get rid of that bit at the start, or they could do something where Finn talks over if Finn's going to be the leader. But you mentioned some good points as well of AJ and with Liv Morgan as well. Liv Morgan comes like, we're moving on. I'm going for the Raw Women's Championship. AJ, on the other hand, I think has something where you can kind of go in, well, we had one another's backs here for the meantime. Perhaps they could go with AJ Styles versus Finn Balor in the meantime if Edge is off TV. Silk made a great point yesterday, which I don't think I've heard anyone say anywhere, and I've watched a lot of videos on Judgment Day today on YouTube. I don't remember anyone saying Edge having a limited date contract in WWE. He only makes so many appearances per year, and he's obviously been on every premium live event since WrestleMania, and of course he did Royal Rumble as well. So he has been doing a lot of matches. Maybe he's actually being written off TV for the time being, because he's not meant to be making so many appearances. Maybe he's going to be kept off for 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe he comes back for the premium live event against Finn Balor, or that's safe for SummerSlam, and we do Balor versus AJ in the meantime, and Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Very fantastic point from Silk. The only thing I would say from that is, what is the logic of WWE then? If they know that Edge is on a limited contract, you've lost Cody Rhodes. You've basically, in essence, written Edge off TV now. It's not exactly a like-for-like replacement, is it, of an instant move? This is going to probably take Edge, realistically, 8 weeks to come back, maybe, if they do it properly. If he's back next week and he's not selling anything, then I guess it's probably not going to work. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. And the question I'd ask you, Steve, as well is, does this mean that we're not going to get any more members to Judgment Day? Is that whole recruitment gone? Is it just going to be a threesome now almost?
It could just be a threesome. I mean, to be fair, this is how I kind of took it. It was shocking to the point it was almost like Shield breakup-esque. You know, when Rollins turned on Ambrose and Reigns, it was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And it kind of had that feeling here. But here's the difference with a lot of fans, and I'm sure the chat's going to say the same in a minute, regardless of whether they thought it was a good move or not. The Shield were together for two years. This group's been together for 2 months, or literally a month if you class it as the 3 members. So now we've got this new membership. It could be interesting to see how it's going to go. I like the idea potentially of a purple Finn Balor if he was to bring the Demon back. It could fit with the mystique of the group. If I was to fantasy book it, as I said there, I think you should go with Finn versus AJ for the meantime till Edge comes back. Have the Edge match at SummerSlam with Finn Balor. And then once you can break that off with, you can have AJ and Edge being on the same page, realizing, hang on, we've got different evils. We need to reconcile here to actually blow off this feud with Judgment Day. And then later on the year, whether it's, say, Crown Jewel, whatever, then you can have the pure babyface versus babyface singles match, how it's supposed to be done, of Edge versus AJ Styles, the true dream match, where probably then AJ probably would get the victory, winning with the phenomenal forearm. Do you think that could be working as booking?
I like that, but how can I top that? They need to give you the pencil. I can't add anything to that. That's majestic. The only thing you can do if you want to make it even more crazy, Vince Russo-esque, is late in the year when you do get them, sort of the 2 baby faces against the heels, you have Edge turn again, and then he joins the stable again. And he says all along it was just a work, which obviously it totally goes against it, but that gives it longevity. But I agree with that. I think that's a great point you make.
We'll have to wait and see how it's going to play out. But I'll tell you what, the chat is going wild, so I want everyone to get their say in this. So, yeah, we're going to go to you. It's your turn in the chat. So first off, Martin Correa saying, hey, what's up? SCW and Jonesy, good afternoon, night over there in the UK. Thank you very much, Martin. Hope you are doing very well. It goes on to say, I hope we see that cold-blooded, not caring Finn Balor, if we see here soon, it will be money. And that's the thing. It could be almost a bit like the sort of Finn Balor we had in NXT. That sort of, heel Finn Balor was really fascinating to watch. Would you like to see that character being brought back to life now in WWE? Because as a babyface, it's always been too squeaky clean for my liking on Raw or SmackDown.
100% agree. I'd like to see him cursing the crowd. He's not literally going to swear at the crowd, but I'd like to see him really not give people high fives and be really, really like sort of annoying and arrogant. Really, like that's what we need to see. We need to see Finn, the Finn we've not seen before. I think this is a great opportunity for him to really relaunch as a squeaky clean babyface. He's kind of gone nowhere, so this is a great chance for him to push the button and restart, basically.
I totally agree with you. So let's hope that it's going to work out now with this 3-member stable, because they do fit very well together, in my opinion, as well. Mike, Tanhabs Mike in the house. Hope you're doing very well. Thank you for checking out the stream. Says, I was very surprised that WWE did this. WWE rarely does the unexpected, but when they do, they knock it out of the park. Finn Balor needed a heel turn. Where does AJ Styles fit into this? And that is a big burning question coming out this. What happens to AJ Styles? It wasn't even on Raw. Of course, he was bleeding as well at Hell in a Cell. I think they're trying to hide that off of camera as best they could. You could sort of vaguely see it in the replay. What happens with AJ next? Do you reckon that he should confront Finn Balor and that should be the next step of this program?
I think so, but then they're going to need the numbers now, isn't he? He's now outnumbered. He's now sort of 3-1 or 2-1 outnumbered, unless they get somebody else. Maybe they put Mustafa Ali with him, and then that's sort of maybe someone they do. But yeah, I think that's the natural route to go down. Finn and AJ would be a great match, particularly the heel babyface dynamic with Finn as the heel will be fun.
Certainly indeed. And of course, main event Mustafa, of course, was back there this week. It's getting back on Raw. That's where he belongs. Martin goes to say it was a smart move. They already did everything except Balor versus Edge, and it still makes Judgment Day a top topic. And you can't disagree with that. It's the top topic of this video.
2 seconds, Steve. I'll be back with you. Sorry, I've just got to sort something out quickly.
That's not a problem indeed. Not a problem indeed. Yeah, no worries. We'll take him back up. But I'll take over with the comments in the meantime. Noob and Co saying here that I think there's way too many injuries in wrestling these past days. First Punk, then Jeff Hardy, then Adam Cole, then Bryan Danielson, and now Cody Rhodes. There has been so many. I wonder if the schedule was a bit too grueling for a lot of the superstars. They did say a few of the, Wrestling Observer, people like that, saying that maybe the scheduling with Cody been put a lot on his shoulders since coming back to WWE. Of course, let's not forget the TV stuff. We see all the house shows as well. They're doing all these different appearances, all these different places around the world they've got to go to. It's a lot on the body. It's a grueling schedule. I know a lot of people there, you mentioned that AEW people, but still they put the bodies through it each and every week. We see them go from Texas to New York, back to somewhere else. It's a grueling schedule to be a pro wrestler and to put your body on the line however many nights a week you do. You're going to get injuries, you're going to get casualties, but it's unfortunate. Sometimes you get it where it happens a lot at the same time, and let's hope it doesn't continue that way. We want people to be healthy, want them to get back in the ring as soon as possible. A lot of names there are going to be missed on the TV each and every week. Martin then says that will WWE finally send Finn Balor back to the new heights with this? Fingers crossed. I mean, what I would say while Jonesy's not around is that if they did do Finn Balor versus AJ Styles next, I think that Finn Balor needs to get a victory. This is where it'd be the perfect place and platform to get that pay-per-view victory, because without it, I mean, personally for me, Finn Balor, this group would become like a jobber group very, very quickly. They need to, if they're going to take Edge out of it, they need to capitalize on it, easy for me to say, and try to take it to these new heights. Do what Edge couldn't do. Maybe they saw that Edge was going to lose at this show. Maybe now going forward for the next couple of times and tries, Edge does fail trying to defeat this group and maybe ultimately gets there in the end, because they need to make the new Judgment Day stronger than ever. And they said now there's no limitations. So hopefully this group now with no limitations will be able to take this to whatever heights they want to. We've got Mike there said, we've also got West Coast Podcast. I'm just going to bring Jonesy back in a couple of seconds. Said, I had a friend there live last night. He said it was really stunned at the younger audience. Funny us older fans to see this and young fans see it as a big turn. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. For younger audiences, I mean, this has to be something very special, Jonesy, because as has been said there by West Coast Podcast, like literally this sort of stuff, we were used to seeing it all back in the old days. We can compare it to things we've seen in the past. But people that are perhaps fans over the last sort of, couple of years to 5 years, they're not really used to seeing stuff like this. So this is going to be a big deal for them. Yeah,
I think this is the modern day version of Hulk Hogan turning heel. Like it's almost that feeling. You get that vibe. You get that real natural shock. You don't see this every day, and for them to put it out of nowhere, more of the same, please, WWE. I know you don't do it every single week, but this sort of longevity and this sort of thinking, this is exactly what Retribution should have been. I think this is just really well done so far. They just need to keep the story going and keep the twists and turns coming week on week, I think.
Absolutely, and to see where it goes next there. And Mike then goes on to say, is it possible that they rename Judgment Day to Balor Club? I personally hope they don't, but hey, it could be a possibility, Jonesy.
Yeah, it could be. You never know. It could happen.
They've definitely actually got lots of different theme music. Obviously, Rhea Ripley had a twist now on her brutality music. Really like that new tune and variation of her music, by the way. What do you reckon of it?
I like it. I think the biggest star coming out of this whole group so far has been Rhea Ripley. It's amazing what I've done with her. This is exactly what the group was
Absolutely.
for.
Absolutely. I mean, West Coast Podcast has said they need new music. Ending the show with Edge's voice over this with new music was a bit off. Maybe they can keep the Alter Bridge and Edge can go back to Metalingus, but maybe they have Finn Balor say something at the start. Wouldn't it be nice to have seen like this Finn Balor cocky heel? We don't really get to see him do this stuff very often on the main stage of WWE. So let's hope maybe he can take over because hey, he's took Edge's spot already. Why not take the voice as well?
I agree, 100%.
Absolutely. Well, Martin Carrillo here says, once Balor speaks, I hope he speaks about the fact that he lost the Universal title due to injury. He hasn't felt and been the same in that place Raw, and he demands to be on that top spot once again. Wouldn't that be beautiful if they can actually use this and make a new star at Finn Balor? Because I think a lot of people have been criticizing that today, that we're going back to the old, that's all right, going back to the old guard, trusting on the likes of Edge maybe being the top babyface in the company. But a lot of the time, top stars in the company start off as heel. You know that eventually they'll turn Roman being back to babyface, and next time it's going to connect better than it ever has before. Isn't this the right path then? They've done this with Finn Balor to make him hopefully a top star going forward.
This is the best chance they've got of making him a star, isn't it? Like a new star since he's won the Universal title. I think this is a great opportunity. It's just whether he's going to be the one that can take the group further than Edge. That's the question mark for me.
That certainly is indeed there. We've got Anand, I hope I said that correctly, asking your picks for Money in the Bank. Thank you for checking that stream, by the way. Jonesy, who are your picks right now?
I'd go Becky Lynch, and on the men's side, oh god, it's really tough. Now Cody's not in it; it's really tough. I'm going to go Seth Rollins. I think on the men's side at the moment, they're the two. I think
that could be a great shout. I mean, obviously, the idea of Seth being Money in the Bank and maybe Cody coming back to then win the championship off the person who's cashed in Money in the Bank. We could get Seth versus Cody for. For me to make my picks at the moment, it's hard to know. We're not seeing the people in the match, but I think Bobby Lashley has to be seen as a heavy favourite. But I will go and say that I wanted Theory to win this earlier on in the year. I'm going to stick my neck out and say Theory at this particular moment. And I'm going to go for Liv Morgan to win on the women's side. But I do like the idea of what Jones has gone there with the opportunist side there of Lynch and Seth Rollins, because both are desperate at this point. So I think it would actually suit their characters very, very well. How it would suit the characters of Theory and Liv Morgan remains to be seen. But for me, I like the idea of Liv Morgan potentially finally getting a chance to go for the championship again. And Theory, for me, I think being Vince McMahon's protege, I think he'll be a perfect, outstanding candidate to have that briefcase for nearly the full calendar year, maybe cashing in on a WrestleMania, a Raw after Mania, maybe even at next year's Money in the Bank, because that's something we've never seen before.
No, I agree. Can I give one more as well?
Go for it.
One more. I don't know if we'll do it. It'll be Drew McIntyre. Obviously, clearly we're going to get Drew and Roman probably in Cardiff for Clash of Champions or Clash of Castle even. I think Drew with the Money in the Bank briefcase could be fun. Like if they want Roman to lose the belt and they want a big moment in the UK, what's to say Drew cashes in? Like it's a bit of a cheap way to get the belt, but I think that's a good way to get the belt off Roman if they want to do that. Great moment.
It certainly could. It could be a great moment. I mean, if Drew wins the championship, however he does it in front of the UK crowd, you know that the place is going to go absolutely bananas. It would be a very special moment in wrestling history, especially for the United Kingdom. Also, I'm asking here, and I want to talk about this topic, so I'm looking forward to this now. What are you expecting from John Cena's return? Which opponent do you think he'll face? Of course, John Cena celebrating 20 years in WWE. Of course, the infamous time when he came on to SmackDown and said ruthless aggression to Kurt Angle, slapping him in the face, and of course, having that great 15-minute match with Kurt Angle in the debut, then getting the appreciation from The Undertaker, going on to be one of the biggest stars then in WWE history. John Cena returning in Laredo, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, on the 26th of June. I think that he will be wrestling at SummerSlam this year. Jonesy, we've talked about this previously. We discussed a couple of opponents, but I think at the moment, if I had to predict, and I think a lot of Twitter saying it as well, Theory would be an odds-on favourite to do so.
Yeah, I had it down to one or two people. Theory's obviously the favourite. Before last night, I had Edge and Cena. They've obviously had a history. From a dream perspective, I'd quite like, this is a launcher. Don't think it will happen, but I'd love to see it would be Riddle versus John Cena. I'd love Riddle to lose to Roman at Money in the Bank, which is probably the route they're going to go down. And then Riddle obviously finally lose his head. And then we get a heel Riddle versus Cena. I think that could be magic to give Cena puts Riddle over. I think Riddle will go that level above that he's already.
Absolutely. And to be fair as well, wouldn't it be great for John Cena against Drew McIntyre as well, actually building towards
that'd be a great match as well.
That would be awesome to see. But I think it's going to be definitely, big match John coming in babyface, and I expect a heel to take that role. So I'm going to go for Theory at the moment. And apparently Vince McMahon sees Theory as potentially someone not just going to be the top of the company, but someone that could carry it like a John Cena. So I guess it's kind of like the legend that's doing it now against the future. That could be a great way that it could go down. So, and John Cena's been a US champion before, so it certainly could be something we could get if it was to go down. But Martin Kira saying pretty odd to not see a single qualifying match for Money in the Bank last night. Do you see one happening on SmackDown on Friday, Jonesy?
You'd hope so. They've got to start the build soon, so fingers crossed they do. I'm just interested to see who's in it this year. It's so open.
It is really open. I feel it's very open, more open than maybe some of the other years. But this is my feeling of why they didn't last night, Martin. I think with Cody being written off TV, and I think it's going to be a good opportunity to talk about Cody Rhodes actually very quickly. Obviously, he put his name in that he was going to do so, going for Money in the Bank. He's got surgery this week. I don't see how he's going to be doing it, if I'm being brutally honest with you. But at the same time, I would say that they needed to rewrite a lot of things, get a few storylines in place. We've closed off a lot from the pay-per-view or premium live event. I've done that a couple of times already. But I reckon that if it's not by SmackDown this week, definitely by Raw next week, we'll definitely see qualifying matches. Obviously, they've already got the Intercontinental Championship with Ricochet and Gunther being promoted for this Friday on SmackDown, and Riddle will be in the house as well. It does seem like we're going to get Riddle versus Roman Reigns as the main event match at Money in the Bank for the Unified Universal Championship. He did make his coolest shot on Raw this week. According to the rumor mill, according to Tom Colicue, that Roman Reigns wants that match for Riddle. Quite a few people backstage want that match for Riddle. It's if the match will go ahead. And I do recommend Tom Colicue's channel. He's definitely ahead of a lot of the sources that you might do paywalls for, and you go and check out and get his information absolutely free. And it's more than not recently, it's coming true as well. Nubico says, your thoughts on Becky Lynch going after the 24/7 title and losing to Dana Brooke? I hope that Asuka and Becky will continue, hopefully at SummerSlam. Definitely think that match will happen at SummerSlam. Jonesy, one of the things you wanted to talk about was Becky Lynch going in this spot for the 24/7 title last night. What were your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was a bit disappointed. Like, Becky Lynch is the best they've got besides Bianca Belair. Losing to Dana, no way in a million years, even if it's a cheap finish, you should be losing to Dana Brooke. You wouldn't see Brock Lesnar do the job to, I don't know, somebody back in the day, would you? You wouldn't see Brock Lesnar doing the job to Akira or someone, or to Zao or something like that. It was a bit crazy. But for me, I get Becky Lynch away from 24/7 title. I felt, yes, it gives Dana Brooke a big win, but yeah, comedy doesn't belong with Becky Lynch. Unfortunately, she's that level above. She's their basic equivalent of Roman Reigns on the women's side.
Yeah, I can see that point entirely, and I think quite a few people pointed that out last night on Twitter. But here's my take on it. I really enjoyed it from a storyline perspective because Becky couldn't win the Raw Women's Championship, and she's that desperate to have a championship to get back off rock bottom that she's willing to take any title. The 24/7 title would do because in her head, she could make it the most prestigious thing in the world. And the fact then that once, no one's going to win a title in my match. If anyone wins a title, it's me. How dare you win a 24/7 title in front of me? I thought was just, it's true of how Becky Lynch is feeling right now. The fact that Asuka cost her the match, I totally agree. Becky Lynch shouldn't be losing to Dana Brooke under any circumstance, but I think it fit the narrative very well. It does protect Becky Lynch and it carries on the Asuka and Becky feud quite well because Becky's still at rock bottom and Asuka's making sure of it as well when they get that big blow-off match, hopefully, as said there at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I agree. I think the thing with it is you're definitely going to get Becky and Asuka at Money in the Bank. That's been built kind of nicely. They're clearly delaying this Bianca and Becky Lynch big rematch for SummerSlam. That's going to happen as well. But yes, it's a bit fun. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of the champions losing. When do you ever see Roman Reigns lose? That's kind of the way I feel. I know Becky's not a champion, but I compare her to Roman Reigns. For me, she's the top they've got.
She's the top star on Raw, especially now Cody's
it's a cheap way to lose. I get it. It creates heat for the feud. I totally get that, but it just wasn't really for me, unfortunately.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair indeed there. Martin's saying that I'd like to see Sammy. I mean, he's in a current storyline with the Bloodline. This has probably come from an earlier question that we've had, but Martin might need just to clarify on that. But would that be against Riddle or would that be against Roman? Or perhaps even for Money in the Bank, maybe?
Yeah, I guess the thing with it, with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, we just need to hope that sort of Sammy does something. Like, he's a great sort of veteran in WWE, but he gets stuck in these matches that don't go anywhere. And I'd like to see him be a serious character. We've had the comedy character. He did the fantastic work at WrestleMania against Johnny Knoxville, and he's entertaining. But let's put him as a serious wrestler. This guy used to be so good back in the day, back in NXT.
He was. I actually predict he will be a babyface by the end of the year and actually
Wow,
having a match
that's a big
against
one.
Roman Reigns. That's what I'm going to predict because I think he'll be very upset of how he's been used by the bloodline and not got his way. And I think that will be the case there for you. But we'll just say to go back on the Becky Lynch, Anand has said Becky going for the 24/7 championship was a disaster, similar to Jeff Hardy going for it. And apparently Jeff Hardy recent interview actually said he was embarrassed going for that championship. I mean, that's a big statement to make there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big statement. I think the thing with it, it's tough, isn't it? The thing is, when you've got wrestlers that are that level, the main event, the 24 title is such a bit of a joke. It's just the comedy, it's the light relief, it's the toilet break, and you just don't sort of want to be interrupting that. You might be a bit more patient than me with that, Steve, but I'm just not a fan of, unfortunately, of that. Unfortunately, it's not the hardcore title for me.
No, it's not the hardcore title. That's totally true indeed. There, I just say with regards to Sami Zayn, Martin said that the Money in the Bank briefcase to win, he kind of deserves it. Only bad part is he doesn't have that credibility yet. But that's the thing, he's looking for it, doesn't he? I think it'd suit his character very well, Sami Zayn, if he was to win Money in the Bank. I'd like to see him in the match. Do you think that Sami and Money in the Bank could be a lot of fun?
Yeah, 100%. I like it if he gets near and it gets nearly there, and then somehow he gets stopped. But yeah, he's gonna be a great spot machine if he's in the match. That's for sure.
Absolutely, indeed. There, we've got here. It would be great if Rollins wins Money in the Bank, cashes on a Roman at the Royal Rumble. Cody returns to win the Rumble and to set up the WrestleMania rematch. Or Theory could be a great option. It does seem like great fantasy booking there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we're going to get Roman and Rollins at some point. But yeah, this will be the way to get Rollins back in the hunt after them 3 losses to Cody.
Absolutely, indeed. There, Mike saying Cody Rhodes was probably a lock to win Money in the Bank. Who wins it now? Drew McIntyre. McIntyre could choose to cash it in the UK pay-per-view. It would certainly help sell seats. The thing is, I'm not sure the selling with the tickets. What's it like there with Clash at the Castle at the moment?
I think they're having trouble. Like, I think they've sold sort of maybe half, but they were putting seats out at like 300 quid. That were basically seats that were just average, if that makes sense. It took a lot of effort for people to get seats at an affordable amount. And as in the world, like everything's going up in the world at the moment. Everything's a crisis as such. So people can't really probably afford to go that. But yeah, they're not going to sell out, I don't think, unless they're other prices.
Yeah, it's a real shame if that's the case, but obviously WWE maybe putting a bit greedy there with the prices are too high as well. I've not looked at the tickets myself, so it would be interesting to see. But obviously, we gave our takes earlier who we think would be Money in the Bank, but as with regards of Drew McIntyre, certainly could be quite interesting if that would be the case because it would definitely give a good pop to the crowd in attendance. And did Cody's injury force WWE to turn Edge into a face? That's a big money question on the sort of topic that we've had with this video. I'm going to say yes. I mean, they could have gone with Finn Balor. They could have gone with AJ Styles. They could have even gone with Seth Rollins at the start of the night. He technically did. He gave respect to Cody Rhodes. Was Edge the right person to turn into a babyface at this point? Or could they and should they have done it with somebody else?
For me, I don't think he was the right person. I love the turn and stuff like that, but I was loving Judgment Day the way they were. And I just think they had nobody else. The trouble is when you haven't got anybody else built up, the only person they could have done that I think may have been equal was either Rollins or Kevin Owens. And Rollins wasn't really going to work. Unfortunately, like they don't want to put babyface again, particularly this gimmick he's got. So that left Kevin Owens or Edge. And for a storyline perspective, they obviously did Edge, but I'm just interested to see how that sort of affects his promos going forward. Because some of his promos recently have been superb as a heel.
They certainly have. Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. It's going to be interesting to see how it's going to work out with everything. But obviously, Cody did make mention that he would, his intention was to still be part of this Money in the Bank ladder match. Obviously, I'm hoping he's been written off now with the attack that was given with Seth Rollins afterwards. We saw that great image as well with Seth Rollins with a sledgehammer and sort of like the love for the game. Thought it was really well put together the way they did that backstage. Do you think now that this definitely writes Cody off until the Royal Rumble? There's no way he comes back before?
Yeah, I think the thing with it is, maybe it's just down to whether they rush him. We don't really know the true story on Cody's injury. We know the injury looked bad. We've seen people come back really quickly. Do WWE hold out for Cody coming back at the Royal Rumble next year? Maybe.
Absolutely. We'll have to see how it will go down. I mean, for me personally, I hope now he's off to the Rumble because I want him to heal. I want him to be better. I don't want him to be injured. But let's wait and see how it's going to go down. He had an incredible performance at Hell in a Cell. I think if he keeps putting his body through it, then it could be a tough one. It could be longer for him to get back and he could end up missing WrestleMania. So do what you need to do. Look after your body. Get yourself back. You've done so much already. Get yourself fit, get yourself back for the Rumble, and get yourself in that main event because that's the place where it would be perfect destiny for him to win the WWE Championship, however it is done. We've been asked to respond. Do you think Gunther will be winning the Intercontinental Championship soon? Yes, Friday for me. How about you, Jonesy?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how Ricochet comes out of this with the Intercontinental title. Gunther getting the Intercontinental title will give it that lift. let's hope it's on TV and on pay-per-views. I think Gunther's in the title. We could have a really long title reign.
We certainly could indeed there. Is there anything that you'd like to discuss further from Monday Night Raw?
No, nothing further.
No, I'll tell you what then, if anyone's got any further questions, get them in now. It's the great opportunity. But of course, NXT 2.0 is this evening. I had made a video and I didn't get time to upload it. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to put it for you now, who I think is going to win the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. So give me your predictions as well. Who do you think is going to be winning? Is it going to be Roxanne Perez or is it going to be Tiffany Stratton? In the meantime, here is my thoughts. Who is going to win the finals of the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament in 2022? The finalists are Tiffany Stratton against Roxanne Perez. Now, of course, Perez defeated Kiana James and Lash Legend to get to this spot in the tournament. And Tiffany Stratton replaced Nikita Lyons, who, of course, was injured. She defeated Fallon Henley in the semi-final to book her place in the final. And I thought that was quite a nice way that they actually did that, because Stratton wasn't in the tournament to begin with. She was insulted that she wasn't even put in this tournament, but of course she took full advantage and now she could be winning the whole thing. But of course, Roxanne Perez, Roxy, has had a fantastic couple of years in the wrestling business. Of course, Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, has competed in Impact as well, now signed with NXT. I think she's going to want to get the W at the end. Now, of course, had this been the original plan with Nikita Lyons and getting to the final instead of Tiffany Stratton, I may have gone different, because I think Nikita Lyons will be your next NXT Women's Champion, probably defeating Mandy Rose. But of course, you get a championship opportunity by winning this breakout tournament, so you don't necessarily need to go for the Women's Championship. You could go for the Tag Team Championship as well, and I think that's what Roxanne Perez will do. I think she'll use that opportunity to team with her best friend Cora Jade. They've been building that friendship storyline up on NXT in recent weeks. I think those two will become your next NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, beating Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, which I think from that point would probably release around SummerSlam time, would release Toxic Attraction to the main roster, and you can have a new set of champions with the new NXT 2.0 stars holding all the gold as well. So that's going to be my prediction for you there. Roxanne Perez, I think, will pick up the victory. Grayson Waller may try to stick his nose in where it doesn't belong, but I don't expect he'll get very far if he does. I still think Perez will pick up the W. So that's basically what I think there anyway, there for the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. Jonesy, I know you're not really following too much of NXT 2.0, but would you have a late prediction there to make with Roxanne Perez, Roxy, or Tiffany Stratton?
I've got to be controversial. I don't watch NXT. I confess, since it came to NXT 2.0, I've stopped watching. But prediction for me, I'm going to go Tiffany Stratton. I always like a heel to win. I like controversy. I've got to say something different, Steve. Otherwise, it'll be too predictable. I've got no idea what I've just committed to either, to be fair.
It could happen. It could happen. She was a late one coming into the tournament. I think that'd be a great thing to do if it was. But no, I mean, not everyone follows NXT 2.0. But I tell you what, I've got some great news for you, Jonesy. We've got some questions coming in from the main roster once again. So let's go for the last of the questions we've got, and then we'll close off the stream today. But anyone wants to share their predictions for it, do let me know in the chat. But Martin here asking if Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair was made a bit too soon. Should they have waited till SummerSlam?
No, not for me. I think the thing with it is they've done such a good job building Rhea Ripley. She's on her up at the moment. I really think this is the time to do this match, because obviously there are bigger matches planned for SummerSlam, definitely for Bianca Belair. And you've not even brought Bayley back yet either. That's very true. Although I do think Bayley might come to SmackDown at this point. SmackDown is crying for some star power over that side. Sorry, can I put a prediction out there? This is a long shot. So we'll do this match at sort of Money in the Bank, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. How about if we get Bayley come back somehow in that match, and it ends up with being Rhea Ripley and Bayley at SummerSlam? I think that could be a money match again. I'd love to see that match. That'd be an awesome match to see. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it will go down. I kind of agree with Jonesy, by the way. I don't think this is probably the right time to do this match, just purely because if you look at it, the way that it was presented on Raw, the way you've done the big changes with Judgment Day, if Rhea had gone into that Fatal 4-Way and lost, it wouldn't have been a great sign for Judgment Day. So she's got to go in, and this group needs to look strong. And in my personal opinion, Jonesy said there's some bigger matches perhaps ahead for Bianca Belair. I wouldn't be too surprised if Rhea picks up the W at the Premium Live event. I think that there definitely is in with a chance. And for me, that's exciting, because I'm looking at these two competitors here, 2 stars for the future, 2 stars for the now. I don't think it's that obvious which way it's going to go, where I could look at Ronda Rousey versus Natalya, and it's quite obvious Ronda Rousey is not dropping that championship. So for me, this is really exciting. And knowing that I haven't got to wait too long for it, Money in the Bank, July 2nd, I'm really hyped for it. I agree with you. I think it's such a big match.
It really, really is indeed here. We now got asked here, if Drew indeed winning Money in the Bank cashes it in the UK, then it can turn into disappointment as Roman might not lose any title this year. WWE did this with John Cena when he won Money in the Bank and he had his match and it was a DQ finish. I will just say quickly, if there's a DQ finish in Cardiff, I think that there's going to be a lot of uproar from the fans. Even if it's only half sold at this point, that would not be a great way to do it if you're going to do a UK show. But certainly for me, if I'm being honest, I don't think Drew needs it. It's called his shot already. I don't think Drew will be winning Money in the Bank, if we're honest, but we'll have to wait and see who will be in the match first. I guess that'll be a good telltale sign. But yeah, John Cena, has cashed in and didn't do it, but there's an 85% win rate according to the Miz yesterday. Of course, he'll know that he's won it twice. Could the Miz be in it actually? Because he said about being a 3-time Money in the Bank holder.
Maybe just to make it numbers.
Yeah. Just to make that, he's not winning it anyway.
No, he's not winning the world title again. Even though he's one of the last champions we've got, he's not going to win it.
No.
But in terms of the comment, I think for me, yeah, Drew probably doesn't need it. Prediction: if Drew doesn't beat Roman at Cardiff, the reason and the beneficiary of that will be Tyson Fury. That's the only way they're going to get out of this. And I think if Roman pins Drew clean, I can see the heckles. Like, you remember that back in the day, one night only, when British Bulldog and Shawn Michaels had that fantastic match. And the crowd just turned on it because Michaels won. Roman Reigns wins in Cardiff. I think the crowd will go crazy. So they need to find a way of getting themselves out of that.
They certainly do indeed. Yeah, it'd be interesting how it will go down here. Martin saying, what feuds should WWE capitalise on doing in the next month or two? Jones, is anything that spring to mind immediately for you?
I'm jumping ahead, but I'd love to see Riddle and Randy Orton. Like, it's probably not going to happen. We're probably going to get Randy and Roman at SummerSlam, I believe. But I really want to see this match happen between Riddle and Randy Orton. I've been waiting for it for ages now, and I think it'll be a fantastic match when it happens. It
certainly would be. But like you say there, I think SummerSlam, if you had to sort of put a little card together immediately, which they should capitalise on. Obviously, we mentioned it actually. Let's just go with Money in the Bank here. I think Finn and AJ would be a great way to go. Then you could do Finn and Edge at SummerSlam. SummerSlam, you mentioned there about Randy against Roman Reigns. I think that could be really cool. I'd have to find a way to fit Riddle into the brackets. Maybe even a triple threat could be quite fun to do. I think that wouldn't be outside the box, especially if Riddle's perhaps cost the match at Money in the Bank. I'd like to see Bobby Lashley against Seth Rollins. For me, I think I mentioned this yesterday. I think it would be a fun feud to see. We mentioned there, obviously, the nights we could get Bianca versus Becky Lynch one more time at the second biggest show of the year. So there were a lot of matches there. John Cena Theory we mentioned also. So if that's your SummerSlam card, that's looking pretty tasty.
Yeah, I think it is. Who do you put the Usos against for the World Tag Team titles?
Right now, make a new team? Profits.
Street Profits, okay.
That's right now. They won the Championship Contenders match, didn't they?
Yeah, they are.
So we'll have to wait and see how it'll go. But that'll be Money in the Bank. So maybe we come to SummerSlam. Maybe you need a multi-team, or you can throw something together.
Call up someone from NXT.
Oh, who would you call up?
I like the Grizzled Young Veterans. I love British tag teams. I think they'd be so good.
They are indeed. Speaking of British, West Coast Podcast asking, are you going to Clash at the Castle? Jonesy, you are.
Yeah, I'm going. I've got a ticket. Yeah, I'll be going. I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. My first WWE show in many, many years. I'm quite excited for it.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I'm unable to go. So otherwise, I would have definitely got myself a seat booked next to Jonesy. But sadly, it's not to be. But fingers crossed, it does sell out. And it should be a big fun time anyway. Circle Debate podcast is in the house. Hope you do well. Fantastic show, by the way. Go and subscribe to them on YouTube. So what's up going on, fams? Steve is my man. Always, yes, sir. Was that in the sort of pretty deadly way? Like, yes, sir. I don't know. But thank you for checking out the stream. Hope you're doing well. And his question is, this Finn Balor turn is intriguing for sure. And I would have loved AJ to join this faction. How do you feel about that? AJ Styles being a part of it as well. Maybe secretly this was a whole ruse to get Edge out, and maybe AJ could turn on Edge if they were to, go against the common enemy at some point in the future.
You're making a super faction. I like the look of it. You just then need to create somebody for Edge to build his own faction to feud with, and then if you do it right, you can have this in place for Survivor Series, which would be great to see.
Yeah, it would be very interesting to see how it's going to play out. But yeah, I love the idea, by the way, Circle Debate. I'm not sure if it will happen, but that would be a fantastic twist as well there. But let's see how it plays in the very near future. We've also here got WrestleManiac UK, Mex in the house. Hope you're doing well. Mex just come off his stream as well. Where are the GYV? They seem to be under hoods at the minute, if I'm not mistaken, with Joe Gacy, but it doesn't seem to be revealed yet. But that's my prediction of where they are. But yeah, I mean, Jonesy said he'd love to see them called up. I certainly would love that in the near future as well. Shoes off if you hate Gibson would be awesome on SmackDown, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It'd be fun to see.
I would love to see it. Hopefully it'll happen at some point down the line. And here we've got Martin saying, if you had to book a star from the 24/7 title picture to be a top star, who would it be and how would you both do it? Interesting. Is there anyone in amongst the 24/7 championship division you think they should be further up the card?
I think the obvious one to me is Nikki Cross. Like Nikki Cross, ever since she's come up from NXT when she was Insanity, never had that magic. I think she's great. I think she's got such good ability. She's great on the mic. It's the gimmick that lets her down. I think she was a more serious wrestler, and they pushed her right. She didn't have the comedy. She could be up there in like some really good matches, particularly if she faced people such as Bianca Belair. I think it could be fun to see.
Certainly a very good suggestion now. And to do something different, because I have to, I'm going to go with T-Bar. He's not won the championship. He
T-Bar,
seems to be
that's a good
always
shout.
around the bar. Switching to Dijakovic, and here you go. Put him in Judgment Day. There you go. Put him in Judgment Day. He's in a group. He's in a credible group. He then gets to go against the likes of AJ Styles and Edge over the next few months. And maybe you can build him up to be one of the top stars coming out of the group, going towards Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, so on and so on. But still probably would be about a year or year and a half to actually make him a top star. But certainly that would be the path to get it going. WrestleMania UK has said, he confirmed 30 minutes ago that Edge is listed internally as a babyface now in WWE. Your thoughts on that, Jonesy?
They move quick. Yeah, I knew that. They definitely move quick. Yeah, I'm surprised he's not in the inactive section, like based on that attack. I would thought they'd put in that, but great to see they moved him over. Let's see where it goes.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's see how it goes. And the Edge is a babyface. Thank you for letting us know the information, Mex. We really do appreciate it. And it's not a surprise. We'll see where it's going to lead to. You did a video earlier today as well on this scenario with Judgment Day. So I recommend everyone goes and checks it out after they finish this stream and show Mex some support. He does some great work over on his channel. And also joined Wrestling's recently as well. So congratulations on that. Another great group of fantastic content creators as well. West Coast Popcast is saying, confirmed 20 years ago that John Cena sucks. Let's get the Let's Go Cena chants going in the comments with the Cena sucks and see what side everybody's on.
I'm still waiting for the heel turn of 2022.
It's still not happened a decade later. We've been waiting since 2012. It's never going to happen, is it?
No, unfortunately not.
It's certainly not. But I tell you what, that's all the comments we've got. So I think that's where we're going to leave the stream there, ladies and gents. Before we do go, Jonesy, have you got anything you'd like to add on Judgment Day? Any of the situation just before we head off that we've not spoken about already?
I just hope we got this much to talk about next time we speak about a Raw episode, because it's been fantastic today. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, no, and it's good to have you on, and the sirens are going, so we're going to make a runner there, ladies and gentlemen. But please, if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it as well. It does help a long way with the channel. Subscribe to the channel also, and leave a comment as well afterwards of anything that we've discussed. Love to interact with everybody, and if you're watching on delay as well, it's good to know your thoughts on everything going on. But that's been Jonesy. My name's been Steve, SCW. Please subscribe. Take care. Have yourselves a great day. Edge is out at Judgment Day. It's been a very shocking 24 hours. Finn Balor now seems to be the leader. Where does it go next? We'll have to wait and see. Mex, thank you very much. He's saying great job, guys. And one last question then, as it's just come in. We always do this when we sort of say goodbye and one question comes in. What's the take on Lacey Evans' booking being judged from Raw to SmackDown, as she's scheduled to appear on SmackDown this week with the Army type gimmick? Joseph, what's your thoughts on that before we close off?
They made a mess of it. They can't decide if she's a babyface or heel. She's ultimately a tweener. Good to see her back, but the vignettes they've rolled and the way she's ended up as a heel just hasn't helped her. Good luck to her with it.
Yeah, good luck to her indeed. I hope it all works out. She should be a babyface, in my opinion. It's a travesty to do everything they've done and then make her a heel. Obviously, SmackDown needs the star power more. They seem to, like you said, not have the plans in place, but SmackDown feels like the right home. Let's hope it works very, very well for her. But we'll see on how it's going to be booked, how it's going to go for her this Friday on SmackDown. Thank you, Martin, saying good one, guys. Great stream. Thank you for coming on, and everyone for your questions and comments as well. Really do appreciate everyone that's come in and joined us live. Take care. Have a great day. We'll see you soon here on SCW. All the best. Thanks for watching.